I'm Jessica Vega-Peterson, your Multnomah County Chair, and I want to thank all of you for joining this evening to share your thoughts and priorities. I do want to give a special shout out to Lakeitha Elliott on my team, who did the work of finding this location and getting us here, and I really want to thank the Center for Youth for hosting us this evening. It's really wonderful to be out in the community, so thank you so much. Before we start, I want to let everyone know that interpretations of this hearing are available in American Sign Language, Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, and Somali. Now, I would like to ask each of the interpreters here tonight to come up to the presenter table and introduce themselves in their language. If you could come up one at a time, that would be wonderful. And we'll go ahead and ask the Spanish language interpreter. Good evening. Spanish language? And do you want to just come up here to the microphone?
Good evening. My name is Selene. Tonight,
I'm sorry. And just hit the button right there on the. Is it in red? Is this up? Try again. Try one more time.
Good evening.
There we go.
My name is Selene, and tonight I'm here to interpret for this budget hearing into Spanish. If you would like to listen to this hearing in Spanish, or if you are testifying and would like me to interpret for you, please see me in the back of the room. Thank you.
Interpreters, if you could just read your statements in your language, please. In the language you're interpreting into, please. Thank you.
I'm interpreting into Spanish.
So could you read your statement en español, por favor?
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Eleni y hoy estaré interpretando para esta audiencia en español. Si le gustaría escuchar esta audiencia en español o si le gustaría testificar y que yo interprete por usted, por favor, véame en la mesa de atrás. Gracias.
Gracias, thank you. All right, and then you can go ahead and go to the back of the room, and then in Russian. Good evening.
Good evening. Добрый вечер. Меня зовут Светлана. Я русский переводчик. Если вы хотите слушать сегодняшнюю беседу с переводом, пожалуйста, позвоните по номеру телефона 888-343-4734 и наберите код, который вам предоставлен на столе позади комнаты. Если вы хотите высказаться, пожалуйста, скажите переводчику, и ваши высказывания будут переведены. Thank you.
Thank you. Vietnamese?
Xin chào quý cô bác, tên em là Thông Nguyễn và tối nay em sẽ thông dịch buổi điều trần ngân khố bằng tiếng Việt. Và nếu mà quý anh chị mà có muốn nghe cái buổi điều trần này bằng tiếng Việt, hoặc là quý anh chị muốn đưa ra lời khai, xin hãy em sẽ có thông dịch cho chú chị và em sẽ đứng vào cuối phòng này. Cảm ơn.
Thank you. And Somali? Do we have the Somali interpreter here yet?
I think the Somali interpreter is not here yet.
Okay. All right. So we will go ahead, and when they come up, we will invite them up to share where people can get Somali interpretation. For now, just keep in mind, please bear with us as we experience any technical difficulties this evening that might arise. Today's budget hearing is one of the ways that Multnomah County collects community feedback on our budget before it will be adopted on Thursday, June 8th, at the regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. We have one more public budget hearing after this, which is going to be on Wednesday, May 31st at 6 p.m. This is going to take place at the Multnomah County Building at 501 Southeast Hawthorne, and it will also be available virtually on WebEx. More information about that meeting can be found on our website, multco.us, multco.us. I'd also like to remind folks that written testimony on the county's budget can be submitted online throughout the budget process. You can find that form at maltco.us/budget-feedback. maltco.us/budget-feedback. You'll also find links to the form in Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, Somali, Simplified Chinese, and Chukis on the website. And you can also simply email your comments to our board clerk at boardclerk@maltco.us. I want to give thanks again to the Youth Organized and United to Help for hosting us this evening in this space. I also want to thank you for your ongoing work to motivate, inspire, and empower youth, families, and educators to dismantle the school-to-prison pipeline and support youth and families, especially here in East Portland and East County and throughout Multnomah County. Youth's work is important and valuable, and we really appreciate and love this opportunity to be here in this space with you. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us tonight and to share your thoughts and ideas. We know that hearing from you is an essential part of our budget process. Your feedback does inform our decision-making processes. The investments in the proposed $3.5 billion fiscal year 24 budget are designed to help our regional recovery from the pandemic and shore up the systems we need to build the future everyone in Multnomah County deserves. We are dedicated to meeting 2023 and beyond with new learning and opportunities because we know that these changes that we experienced throughout the pandemic were mandates to reset our priorities and our partnerships, including our ones with the community. So thank you all for being a part of this tonight. We also know that Multnomah County's budgets and priorities are not built in a silo. They are built alongside many jurisdictional and community partners, as well as the community itself. The county truly is built by the community, our community members, as for them. And this budget is really centered on being a more inclusive, equitable, and thoughtful partner with the community in our work. I'm very pleased tonight to be joined by my fellow Multnomah County Commissioners. So before we get started, I'd like to invite each commissioner to introduce themselves, and I'll start with Commissioner Stegman.
Good evening. Is it on? Yes. Well, welcome to East Multnomah County. This is my district. This is your district, and I'm so happy to see all of you. I'm Lori Stegman, Multnomah County Commissioner, representing much of East Portland. My district starts at about Southeast 148th and extends all the way out to the Hood River County line. So part of Portland, all of Gresham, Fairview, Troutdale, Wood Village, Corbett, and the unincorporated areas. Thank you all for coming.
Commissioner Rosenbaum.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening. It's great to see everybody on such a beautiful, warm evening. I am Diane Rosenbaum from District 3. That is the mid-southeast Portland, not too far from here. It goes from about southeast 34th and out to where Commissioner Stegman's district starts. So thank you, everybody. We're really looking forward to hearing your input.
Commissioner Jayapal.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sushila Jayapal. I represent District 2, which is northeast part of East Portland. It's essentially west of the Willamette River, mostly north of I-84. It dips down for a little bit into the North Tabor neighborhood and then goes out east to northeast 148. Thank you all so much for being here. Really looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. Commissioner Myron.
Hi, I'm Sharon Myron. I am the commissioner representing District 1. That is all of the county west of the Willamette River and inner southeast out to southeast 33rd. And it is just an honor and a pleasure to be with you tonight and appreciate all of you being here as well.
Great. Thank you, everyone. I also want to remind the members of the public who are testifying tonight that at these budget hearings, this board listens, but we don't respond to testimony. This is really our chance to listen, to hear what your priorities are, and to bring that into our deliberations about the budget. So I'm now going to turn it over to our board clerk, Marina, who will provide a brief overview of the written testimony submitted prior to this hearing and talk through the logistics of the meeting before calling for testimony. Marina?
Thank you, Chair. Today we have 22 people signed up to testify. As of 5:30 p.m., we have received 78 written testimony forms, all of which I have shared with each board member and their staff. I will call 4 people at a time. When I call your name, come up and have a seat at the presenter's table. Please testify in the order you are called and speak directly into the microphone. Public testimony is limited to 3 minutes per person. I'll set a timer when you begin speaking. When your timer goes off, please wrap up your sentence. Written testimony on the county budget can be submitted beyond this public hearing by going to mulco.us/budget-feedback or by emailing me at boardclerk@mulco.us. Our first 4 testifiers tonight will be Tim Bergler, Olivia Butcher, Kayla Wells, and Michael Lee Berry. Please come up.
Welcome. You can go ahead and begin.
Okay. I just wanted to comment on the JOHS budget and the impact on unsheltered people. First of all, just for context, I'm a long-term resident living in Southeast Portland.
Can you please state your name for the
I'm
record?
sorry, Tim Bergler. I founded and run a small business that is based in North Portland. As a resident and business owner, I am faced with dangerous encampments on my doorstep on a daily basis. When I travel around the country, I realize how much an outlier Multnomah County is. It's truly not accepted anywhere else in this country, including the bluest of the blue cities. Traveling to Philadelphia, DC, New York, and Chicago, it's not allowed. Portland is not uniquely expensive compared to other large cities. The difference is simply policy. Polling shows that homelessness is the #1 concern for Portlanders. This board has spent more than $1 billion on homelessness, while the number of people living unsheltered has increased. That's the facts. The latest JOHS budget follows the same template as previous years and has proven to be an objective failure at reducing the number of people living unsheltered on our streets. The county has not fulfilled our obligations under Martin versus Boise. The taxpayers provide you with a budget of $280 million per year, and you have not provided enough shelter beds for people to sleep in at night. You have stubbornly held firm to a housing-first ideology while people wait on our streets in tents. This is an inefficient way to deliver services. We spend resources to constantly sweep and clean up around dangerous camps and are unable to efficiently reach people to direct them to shelter and housing. This approach has been cruel to people living on the streets. It is disrespectful to my neighbors, workers, and businesses in this community. Advanced societies have health codes, building codes, zoning laws, and property rights for a reason. This county's approach violates all of them. As a citizen, I'm flabbergasted that this budget continues to significantly invest in housing retention when you have 4,000 plus people currently living in tents. I contend that our #1 priority must be ending the cruelty of these tents. How can we justify a housing subsidy program for housed residents when we know we have people currently living unsheltered without heat or basic sanitation? Especially when the housing subsidy program is known to have issues with fraud and a lack of institutional controls, as is evidenced by the whistleblower case last year. Last fall, the mayor put forth a bold plan to scale shelter capacity in the cruelty of street camping. The county should apply this year's unspent JOHS budget, I think it was 40-something million, and redirect all 2024 housing retention resources to partner with the city to scale shelters and end unsanctioned camping.
Thank you,
We
sir.
have the money, we need a new approach.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Olivia Boucher, and I am the Anti-Domestic and Sexual Violence Program Manager at Self-Enhancement, Inc. I'm here today to advocate for the New Day Partnership and request an amendment to the fiscal year 24 Multnomah County budget to reallocate $310,000 towards their outreach, housing, culturally specific advocacy, prevention, and economic empowerment services for youth who have experienced sex trafficking. SEI participates in the New Day Collaborative by providing culturally specific confidential advocacy services to Black youth survivors of sex trafficking who seek services through New Day. Our confidential advocate builds long-term and lasting relationships with survivors rooted in culture, relationship, and partnership. If the budget is not amended and the New Day funding is cut, Black youth survivors of sex trafficking will be cut off from the life-saving and life-changing services that our programming provides. The proposed cut would impact over 200 youth and would disproportionately impact youth survivors of color, specifically Black youth, Latinx, and Spanish-speaking youth seeking culturally specific services. The Multnomah County Commissioner website cites the board's mission statement as follows. The Multnomah County Board of Commissioners plans for the for the needs of a dynamic community, provides leadership to ensure quality services, prioritizes the needs of our most vulnerable, and promotes a healthy, safe, and prosperous community for all. When we talk about youth survivors of sex trafficking that receive New Day services, we are referring to survivors as young as 15 who have experienced some of the most abhorrent traumas, injustices, and systemic failures imaginable. Youth who are sex trafficked experience daily endangerment of their physical, developmental, and mental health. They experience isolation, physical and emotional abuse, homelessness, coercion, and sexual abuse perpetrated primarily by adult men purchasing children and young adults for sex. I encourage the board to stand by their mission statement and recognize these youth as incredibly vulnerable community members who deserve access to safe, accessible, and culturally relevant services. When a youth survivor is connected to our culturally specific advocate through New Day, they encounter a team of people who stand behind them, help them stabilize, help them heal, and help them thrive. Without the priceless resource of dedicated and confidential advocates, many of our youth who are being sex trafficked will remain silenced, invisible, and victimized. I ask that the board recognize the urgency with which New Day partners and supporters are calling on you to act. We appeal to you with a direct knowledge of how impactful our services are and how detrimental it will be to cut funding and take these services away. I ask the county to secure and fortify these services, make up the deficit, and continue to invest in the anti-sex trafficking system as a whole for the safety and well-being of survivors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Kayla Wells, and I'm here to represent the families of Woodmere Elementary School and advocating for the retention of the Family Resource Navigator program. The FRN program has been a resource that families have needed for a very long time. We understand that this program was only made possible because of the COVID relief funds that were made available. But with the loss of this program, many low-income families of color are going to be impacted. While much of what the program has done has provided emergency support for utilities, the FRNs have also worked hard to create community partnerships to help fill the gaps with clothing and food donations and so much more. FRNs have been able to serve our community in a capacity that no other staff members have been able to do before. Sun-site managers will also not be able to serve them in the same capacity. Some successes, providing beds to a migrant family once we were notified that the whole family was sleeping on the floor without proper blankets and pillows. Helping a family whose child has chronic illness to afford their medicine. To deliver food and care packages to families who have either had COVID or medical family emergencies. And we distributed 40 or more bags of produce weekly, and again, so much more. Families turn to their schools and the SUN program when 211 has become a dead end for them and there are no other resources available. We ask that you please reconsider adding this program to the budget so that our students can continue to get the access to basic needs when life events happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Michael Berry. I'm the owner of Naimu Construction. We're a general contracting company that specializes in concrete structures. I am a member of the Seoul District Business Association, and I have come here today to ask that you support our request for an amendment to the county's budget, in particular to use the funds you have remaining from the American Rescue Act to provide financial and technical support to BIPOC entrepreneurs like myself to assist us in recovering from extenuating circumstances that still linger as a result of the COVID crisis. For the world, the COVID crisis has officially ended. However, many of us from BIPOC communities like myself have still not recovered and are in need of assistance. Supply chains, the cost of construction materials, and shortage of labor are still deeply affected my ability to recoup the loss suffered during COVID. Thanks to the technical assistance provided by the Seoul District Business Association, I am working on getting COVID certified and preparing to respond to contracting opportunities coming from various infrastructure bills, and I will need both financial assistance and continued mentorship from the Seoul District in order to keep my business afloat to ensure I can reach my goals. Support that comes from AARP money is intended to assist small business like mine, and it would be a welcomed relief for all of us in the fighting to stay afloat as the economy stabilizes. Thank you for this opportunity to share.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Andy Nelson, Tina Moe, Melissa Schaefer, Rowan Spillman. Please come forward.
Good evening. You can begin.
Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioners. Andy Nelson, Executive Director of Impact Northwest. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for listening to us. I tuned in this morning. You've already been, 5 hours into listening to people present, so really appreciate it. I wanted to advocate for two things. First, yes, the family resource navigators. When I think about how Sun Schools were created in this community, what a vision this county had. We were a national leader in opening schools up and making those true resources. At Impact Northwest, our mission is to prevent homelessness. We reach so many needy families with our family resource navigators. I was really excited to hear this morning that you're considering some level of funding for that program, not cutting it entirely. I would really urge you to look at that. I know you have some scenarios in front of you. And if you have discretionary dollars, please find a way to bring that program back. It's hugely valuable. I know you know that. I know you also know where I'm going to go next, and that is wages for our frontline workers overall. And every one of you has expressed support for that. Thank you. The question is, how do we do it? And what I would ask, and Chair, I want to thank you for your budget for a meaningful COLA plus the 3%. And that's a great step forward. We appreciate that. We've got more to do. The fact that service providers like Impact Northwest, the majority of our frontline workers earn below a housing wage, you know that. And I'd ask for two things. Number one, if we do have discretionary dollars, please let's make those available to service providers so that we can shore up the folks who are really at the front line of the housing crisis. And then secondly, the flexibility to really work with those contracts so that they work for the service providers. The outcomes and outputs that we're being asked to produce, we need your support to relook at those so these contracts can be sustainable and work for our frontline workers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and members of the board. For those of you here for the Family Resource Navigator, feel free to stand in unison. My name is Tina Moe. I am the Woodland Elementary Sun Community School Site Manager with Latino Network in the Reynolds School District. This is my 10th year at Woodland Elementary and my 7th with Latino Network as a Sun Site Manager. I am here to voice my concern about the proposed budget cuts that would eliminate the Family Resource Navigator position in Multnomah County. The Family Resource Navigators are the glue that holds Sun Community Schools together, making what used to be a piecemeal system approach to resource navigation a truly transformed into more comprehensive and supportive family stability model. Since this position was created, we have seen significant improvements in family connections to the school, including student attendance, family engagement, and a renewed sense of hope. Knowing that the lights will remain on, their home can be heated, and food will be on the table makes all the difference in allowing a parent to participate meaningfully in their child's life. At Woodland Elementary alone, our Family Resource Navigator has assisted 79 families and provided follow-up case management 252 times just this school year. This position has been critical in helping families navigate complex systems to address basic human needs, such as food, housing, healthcare, and education. Many of the family resource navigators are members of the BIPOC community themselves. They are a true representation of the culture within our schools, and they need to be invested in as well. These navigators are trusted members of the school, the staff, the students, the families, making them uniquely attuned and positioned to understand the specific needs within each building. Cutting funding for the family resource navigators would result in over 90 jobs lost, 90 schools losing additional support for families in need, and thousands of families losing a trusted connection to broader social services. As someone who has seen firsthand the power of what this role can provide, I am asking for your support in funding the Family Resource Navigator position for at least another year. Our community deserves to be seen and heard, especially after such wide recognition of gaps in services amplified by the pandemic that we as service providers have known and felt for many years. We cannot go back to pre-pandemic mindset and expect that one person, the sun provider, can continue to make meaningful impacts on school and family cohesion, nor can we fulfill the vision of a Sun Community School by being a true hub for services without our resource navigators. We know this role is vital to our schools, so let's take what we have learned and continue to fund a future trajectory for our youth that eliminates barriers and genuinely pours into their futures. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Melissa, and I work in the library at Woodland Elementary. But this evening, I want to talk to you from my role as a community member. My 10-year-old and I live in the Glenfair neighborhood in the Reynolds School District. And a few years ago, about 200 low-income family housing units were built on my block, along with many similar developments all around the area. Since then, I've seen countless children and families come and go, and they're all struggling. They all want to get out of there. Many of the families are escaping domestic abuse situations, dealing with addiction, are refugees, and have experienced generational poverty. Many young children have parents who work long hours, so young children are often unsupervised or watched by their older siblings, and older I mean like 8 or 9. I've tried to support my neighbors, but I don't have the capacity to sustain that. This Sun position, they do. They're the ones that can meet these children and families like glaring basic needs that are not being met. Kids need dinner. They need a place to go when their parents are working long hours, let alone overnight shifts, let alone breaks, school breaks. Families need support getting food and maintaining stable housing. We know that stable housing and having food and childcare lets kids learn. It keeps them in school. It helps them stay out of trouble, both in the immediate time and in the long run. But meeting a family's basic needs doesn't just affect the kids who are receiving those services, it affects everyone around them. So their peers, their teachers, their neighbors. And you know, we know hungry kids can't learn, neither can their classmates. If we want to prevent crime or have a robust functioning community, we have to invest in these things that actually have real impact on people's lives in the beginning so that they can grow and develop. Before people moved into the apartments by my house, the development company said specifically, these are people who would be homeless otherwise. Now there's also lots of unhoused people living on my street in tents, families, more and more all the time. And a lot of times when the families that I've built connections with on my block have been forced to leave their apartments, they have to go back to bad situations with exes, extended family, friends who are not safe for their kids to be around if they have a roof over their heads. And this Sun position is an opportunity to prevent that.
Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Chair Peterson and the commissioners for listening. I hope you all feel very invited into the space. I am speaking on behalf of the Family Resource Navigator position, cue musical chairs. My name is Rowan Spillman. I'm a Sun Site Manager at Dexter McCarty Middle School through Metropolitan Family Service, and have had the privilege of seeing firsthand how impactful the FRN position is and what a gap it leaves without it. By providing access to resources in-house at schools where families know to go for resources, it provides an accessible interpersonal connection to the resource systems that otherwise can be unnavigatable, take lots of time, and the people that they are serving are people who often don't have the ability, whether it be language barrier, hours worked, capacity, or education to access these resources. Having someone who can meet families where they're at, can speak their language, comes from those communities, and deeply understands their struggles and the paths that they've come and walked down, provides a just truly humongous service to the community. By cold turkey pulling this program, we completely destroy that trusted network of service providers and resources that families have known to go to when they need resources. And whether it's a full or partial restoration of the FRN position, continuing it for an additional year will allow families to have a healthier, more gradual transition out of the pandemic and into stability. We know, as we've heard, that houselessness is a huge epidemic, and our FRNs have helped keep hundreds of families from eviction. Preventative resources are always more effective, cheaper, more restorative, and prevent significant trauma than restorative. We're trying to figure out how to get families who are on the streets in their homes, and FRNs help do that, as well as keeping families who are in homes in their homes, putting food on the table, providing access to different resources such as clothing and school supplies, and navigating the complex medical systems that our families face. These are flexible and impactful people in the community who meet families where they're at and evolve to meet the needs where they come from.
Thank you.
Oh, and I have some written testimonial to give to the board, if that's all right.
Sure, you can go ahead and give them to the board clerk, and she'll make sure we get those.
Thank you. Next, we have Loretta Smith, Daisha Kennedy, Lul Kidane, and Fawn Aberson. Please come forward.
Good evening. Hello, you want us to talk a little bit closer? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow. I haven't been in front of a mic in a long time. Commissioner Jessica Vega Peterson, Madam Chair, and Commissioner Diane Rosenbaum, Commissioner Lori Stegman, Commissioner Sheila Jayapal, and Commissioner Sharon Myron. I just first want to say thank you. Thank you for what you did over COVID this past 3 years. It was amazing, and it was also heartbreaking to see our community, how they were trying to thrive in a situation where they couldn't even thrive. And I think with your help and with the resources that you had, it helped us to overcome in a huge way. So I just want to say thank you for what you did. There are many around the country who use their dollars in many ways, but as the safety net government, I was very proud to see what Multnomah County did. In addition to that, I'm here on behalf of the Seoul District. And the Seoul District makes up about 5,000 businesses in Portland, which makes up 50,000 families. I was listening to the news last week, and they said, officially, COVID is over. Who does that? Who says that? Who gives that go-ahead to say it's over? Seoul District members, they didn't get that memo. They are still sitting here trying to thrive post-COVID, middle of COVID. They say it's over, but they're still trying to thrive, and they're just surviving. And I know that businesses, there are opportunities to get loans and go to the city, but the reality is Multnomah County gets $155 million. In your forecast, that's what it says, projected for fiscal year '24. $376,000 in property taxes. Those are our members, our family members. Some of them are losing their homes. They still have not pulled it together from what happened to them when we were in COVID, and they still need some help. And so what we're asking here today, and who we have here today, are many of the folks who are still trying to put everything together. They need a resource, and we were thinking about $3 to $5 million of the ARPA money to go back in to help businesses of color, BIPOC businesses, to help them with capital. They still have supply side needs. They need grants. They need technical assistance. And if we could use some of those resources, I was also happy to hear that you all had an extra $25 million that the forecasters noted yesterday. So these are the folks and these are the faces of people who are still struggling, and they need your help.
Thank you.
I lost my place in there. Okay. Hello, Chairwoman Jessica Vega Peterson, County Commissioners Jay Appel, Marion Rosenbaum, and Stegman. My name is Fawn Aberson, and I am the Program Director for the Seoul District Business Association. We're one of the oldest and largest and most Black-occupied business memberships in the city of Portland to date. We occupy a territory that historically Black people was the only place that Black people could own homes or businesses at one time prior to the civil rights. And it still houses many of the Black-led community-based organizations historic to that community today, including Urban League, Albina Head Start, PCRI, Portland Community Reinvestment Initiative, SEI, PELF. And it's an amazing, wonderful, historic place to be. And we have, for decades, worked to ensure that we are growing the revenues of some of the most vulnerable business communities and people in our communities. A year and a half ago, we did a survey with Mercy Corps Northwest of about 100 small Black businesses, and we, the stats were horrible. You know, 75% of these small businesses don't make more than $25,000 a year, and they're supporting their families on that income. If you stand up a small business, a small vulnerable business, you're standing up a family. And if you're standing up a family, you're standing up our economy, right? At the Seoul District, we're connecting small businesses to volunteer opportunities. Today, you're hearing from small businesses who have never represented themselves or their industry in any form like this. We're building business confidence by giving them a voice. We will continue to show up with them, and they'll continue to show up in front of panels like this, the Metro, the state, because we need to be heard. They need to be heard. They need to be respected, and they need to be recognized that, you know, poverty is a condition, right? And our small businesses can solve that condition, and you need to allow them to do that, but they need the technical support and the research and the resources in order to do that. They need time, right? And that's a luxury that a lot of us don't have when we're under-resourced. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I brought my anxiety with me today. Bear with me, guys. Hello, Chair Marion, Chair Peterson, Commissioners Jayapal, Rosenbaum, and Stegman. I am Deasia. I'm a 19-year-old business owner, a sophomore in college, a coach for a local sports program team, Albina Sports Program, a participant in the Seoul District Business Association's Small Business Training Program, as well as a liaison for young entrepreneurs. I am requesting that you support an amendment for the county's budget to allocate the funds that you have remaining from the American Rescue Act to provide financial and technical support to Black and brown entrepreneurs like myself in order to assist us in recovering from exigent circumstances that linger as a result of the COVID crisis. With all of the radical transformations happening in our economy, young entrepreneurs need financial aid and technical support to navigate these intricate systems so that we are prepared to grow our businesses and invest in our communities. Financial support from financial support from Financial support from American Rescue Plan intended to assist small businesses will be a welcomed relief for young entrepreneurs like myself actively seeking ways to advance our socio-economical conditions through our skills and services. Thank you all for your time, and I hope you fully consider what I've brought to your attention today.
Thank you.
Hi, hello. I'm actually one of those businesses that is doing this for the first time, and I got assistance from Fawn and the Seoul District organization. So hello, Chair Jessica and Vice Chair Sharon and commissioners. My name is Loki Dana, and I am the founder of Diaspora Connections, a newly founded business that is hoping to connect the diverse Black populations to one another and also to showcase their culture to the wider Pacific Northwest. As a member of the Seoul District Business Association, I have come here today to ask that you support our request for an amendment to the county's budget. In particular to the funds that you have remaining for the American Rescue Act to provide financial and technical support to Black and brown businesses and entrepreneurs like myself, to assist in us recovering from the circumstances that are lingering from the result of COVID. For many entrepreneurs like myself, recovery is still moving very slowly. People are still hesitant to move forward with projects because the economy is still so unstable. There is hope for the future, but we need financial and technical support now so that we can be better in order to sustain us later on. Support that comes from the AARP money is intended to assist small businesses like mine, and it would be a welcomed relief for all of us fighting to stay afloat while the economy stabilizes. And that goes for all businesses here, and I thank everybody for using their voice today and for you all listening.
Thank you.
Next, we have John Washington, Alexander Grebe, Don Geyer, and Edward Stevens.
You can go ahead.
Good, Alex. All right, I'll go first. Yeah. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Alexander Gubrab. I'm the Small Business Navigator coach at the Seoul District Business Association. In my role, I empower small business owners by aiding them in navigating complex systems, enhancing their networking abilities, and linking them to partner workshops and training sessions, as well as performing regular business assessments and fostering their business confidence. I'm here today to advocate on behalf of the small business owners I serve. I respectfully urge you to support, urge your support for our proposed budget amendment, which seeks to allocate the remaining American Rescue Act funds towards financial and technical support for BIPOC entrepreneurs. These individuals, despite their resilience and determination, continue to face the residual impacts of the COVID-19 crisis. For many, the pandemic may seem a distant memory, yet in our BIPOC communities, the effects are far from over. They are still grappling with significant challenges such as difficulties in accessing capital, discriminatory lending practices, and the heightened economic instability that disproportionately affects these communities. These barriers impede their ability to recover from the losses incurred during the pandemic. The technical assistance offered by the Seoul District Business Association has been crucial in helping these entrepreneurs. For instance, as Mike stated earlier, they are being guided towards attaining COVID certifications and preparing for impending contracting opportunities, which will result from various infrastructure bills. However, to ensure their business remains sustainable and to support them in achieving their goals, there is crucial need for both financial and continuous mentoring. The intent of the American Rescue Act is to fortify small businesses during challenging times. Thus, your consideration of our proposal could provide substantial relief to these entrepreneurs who are battling to keep their businesses afloat in an economy that is yet to stabilize fully. Thank you for the opportunity to voice the concerns and needs of these vital contributions to our community.
Good evening, ladies. My name is Edward Stevens. I'm the owner of Overnight Pressure Washing Services. I've been in business since 2019. It's easier for me. Is that better?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I've been in business since 2019. I'm not going to read this script because we're all from the Seoul District, excuse me. We're all from the Seoul District, and we're all asking you to do the same thing. We're all just asking you to support us as we grow. A lot of us are still struggling from the 2019 situation, or the COVID, which it started in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, at the end. So we're just here to ask that you guys look out for us, because we are the heartbeat of this community, small businesses. Oh, God. I'm okay.
You okay?
All right. I'm a BIPOC member, a member of the Seoul District, a member of this community. I've been here a long time. My children grew up here. I have one living in Eugene, one lives here. And I'm a grandfather. I started my business for my grandkids. And if I'm still struggling by the time they walk out of college, what am I working for? I'm trying to make this where they can come out of college and come right into a business, not try to grow a business. So I'm here on behalf of my family and my community that I live in. And so I can continue to give services to my community and make my business grow for my family. And with your assistance, I can continue to do that and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is John Washington, and I'm the Executive Director of the Seoul District. Whew, I'm kind of frustrated right about now after listening to them all. And as I'm sitting here, I'm looking at Mandela on the wall. You know, frustration is beyond me. COVID has wreaked havoc in our district amongst our BIPOC businesses. Now, for the last 3 years, we've been taking the back seat to a few things. First, it was some of the wrongdoings from the city in terms of backdoor dealings, you know, with the Trader Joe's issue and the housing issue, and we acquiesced to a number of those issues. And we were fine doing that, and then COVID hit. So that put us behind on the strategic agenda 3 years. Now, I'm standing on the roof right now saying the roof is on fire, but I'm standing on it too at the same time. Okay, it is important for you guys, you ladies, to understand that we're struggling over there. You know, at the rate we're going right now, most of our small businesses are going to be amongst the homeless population. Now, we're trying to set a floor at least so that we don't lose any more of our businesses and our homes and our community members. So I'm at a place right now when I'm looking at this 5-year general fund forecast, and I'm looking at how small business or business income taxes have gone from 137,000 in the next forecast to going to 137 million, and in the forecast in 5 years it'll be almost 200 million. Come on, ladies. Do I have to really keep knocking at this door? Please, come on, set aside a couple of dollars out of this to assist us. You know, because we matter. And it's important that you all hear that we matter. We'll be standing on the rooftop, yelling out to y'all, letting you know that we need your assistance. Now, don't send us down to the city. Don't send us anyplace else. We got 5,000 businesses in our district. What am I supposed to do, go back and tell them that Multnomah County don't care about them? Is that what y'all want me to say to them? I don't think so. I know you do. And I think it's more important for us to be able to assist these small businesses. So I appreciate you ladies allowing us to come in and share and participate with this process. But over the overall process for me over the last 5 years, and this process has been really frustrating. So thank you again for allowing us to come in front of you and for you guys to consider some assistance to us over there. But Mayday, Mayday, house on fire, house on fire. I don't know what else I need to say to y'all. So anyway, I appreciate y'all letting us come out and talk to you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So you can begin.
Hello, my name's Don Geyer. I'm a retiree of an insurance company, and I very much enjoy the retired part. I'm an active boater and have lived for 27 years with my family on a floating home at the Tomahawk Island Floating Home Community in North Portland Harbor. When I look out my windows, I see my community of floating homes. I see North Portland Harbor. The river is our main street. A 1.25 mile stretch of the Columbia River between Hayden Island and the Bridgeton community, between Portland Yacht Club to the east and the railroad bridge to the west. North Portland Harbor has around 500 floating homes on both sides of the river. It also has many maritime businesses supporting thousands of motorboats, yachts, sailboats, canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddle boards. If you're unfamiliar with North Portland Harbor, please see on YouTube, portlandfloatinghomes.com. Multnomah County rivers hold 50 floating home communities. Some are very small and some are almost 200 residences. It's the largest concentration of floating homes in the world, not Sausalito, not Hong Kong. Homes sell from $300,000 to $700,000. It's on the river. I can't help it. I think it's too high, but that's what it is. However, they all pay city and county property taxes, same as land houses. They pay these floating homes pay over $3 million annually, just the homes. We expect that buys us fire, police, education, city services, including our water police, the county sheriff's water patrol. We don't have anybody else to handle water issues, just the sheriff. The water patrol has 8 officers and a few boats. They service 17 miles of the Willamette, 10 miles of the Columbia, and the Multnomah Channel. Thousands of floating homes. Waterfront businesses, morages, swimming areas, beaches, and underway, thousands of operating boats of all times. They are the water police, 8 officers. Now the county is considering reducing the number of water patrol officers by 25%, from 8 that can't do it to 6 that really can't do it. It won't work. Remember, when the COVID-related and political lawlessness almost destroyed Portland, and I'm sure you remember that, I believe the city's liberal positions during those times really hurt Portland. High crime, unfortunate, unmanaged homelessness, and what we need is at least 8 county water patrol staff members. Please find a way.
Thank you, sir.
Next, we have Milani Calvin, Bianca Pick, Leah Glenn, and Jermaine Hankind.
You can go ahead and begin.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you.
Hello, Chair Vega-Peterson and Commissioners. My name is Melanie Calvin, and I'm a founder and director of a very interesting, unique program. And I'm going to apologize up front. Public speaking, when I speak on behalf of the people that we serve, I get very emotional, and I can't help it. I'm sorry. Okay, back to business, sorry. So I'm the founder and director of a program called the ASSIST program, and please allow me to take a moment to just reintroduce ourselves to you all. We help fill an important service gap for people with significant disabilities, and there's a great need for our particular help. We are subject matter experts in the Social Security disability application process. We would like to see some expansion of this service that the county funds already. We see our specialized help as a front door key to many of the services and programs that the county already provides for disabled and elderly. We are an income stabilization program for people who can no longer support themselves through work. ASSIST has returned to enrolling Multnomah County residents again after 6 years of almost exclusively serving Washington County residents. We expanded our service back into Clackamas County and Multnomah County. Right now, our county is in an all-hands-on-deck mode in our efforts to address the homelessness crisis as well. We feel strongly that the high percentage of the disabled population found in our homeless population, they need stable income that they can eventually use for rent as well. We know that there are hundreds of people out there that should be applying for disability benefits but can't because they are too unstable or too impaired to do so. A high percentage of our clients have severe mental illness, and we've all seen that as well. I'm quoting from an article from Psychology Today in September of 2020 that states research that says 30 to 40% of homeless have cognitive impairments, traumatic brain injuries, intellectual disabilities, autism spectrum disorder, and ADHD, making functioning in society very difficult. I will close by saying that per the Social Security Administration's own data, we know that millions of disability applications get started with SSA. It's a long and grueling process nationwide. Each year, so many millions of them don't even get completed. Our program, extremely proactive program, 82% of our cases that we start of our indigent clients get completed. This is a high industry standard for our small niche. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Chair Peterson. Oh, that's not on. There we go. Hi, Chair Peterson and fellow commissioners. My name is Bianca Pick, and I'm Benefits Manager at ASSIST. I have been so for over 6 years. I've helped hundreds of disabled folks access their much-needed SSI and SSDI benefits over the years, too. This application now takes an unbelievable 8 to 12 months for just a first eligibility decision, which is one of the longest we have ever seen this work take. Most disabled people don't realize how complicated it is to get through this application, and the more disabled one is, the less successful they usually are in navigating all of this independently. For example, somebody who is homeless with a significant intellectual disability is expected to fill out mountains of paperwork correctly with strict deadlines. They're expected to know all of the locations that they've sought medical treatment at over the years, recount 15 years worth of their work history, provide copies of rental agreements, various forms of ID, bank records, birth certificates, etc. These requirements are particularly onerous for our homeless clients who do not have even an address or working phone. We prioritize people who are completely incapable of getting through this application on their own. Unfortunately, it is only becoming harder and harder to be deemed disabled by SSA as the wait times are getting longer and longer, and they are demanding more and more evidence from those who are just struggling to survive. There are a tremendous number of ways in which things can go awry in this grueling application process, and there are many steps and hoops that need to be jumped through. We do not let anything fall through the cracks at ASSIST, and we hold our clients' hands from start to finish. We have one of our clients with me today who would like to share some of her story.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Leah, and I'm a recent client of Assist. I've recently been found disabled of last December, or November, excuse me. I'm 60 years old now, and now, anyway, my application took 13 months to get approved, and that's without any appeals. I'm not look disabled, but my body has gone through a lot. I have a bad heart and lungs. There is no way I could have gotten through the mountain of paperwork without this just helping me. They took care of everything because I struggled to understand their forms. I was scared to even open their letters because it's so overwhelming. SSA demanded that I go see one of their doctors despite my huge medical file, and Bianca took me to that appointment on a Saturday. I wouldn't have made it to that appointment without her, and they would have denied my case. When we started working together on my application, we found that the SSA had my birthday wrong in their computer, and we couldn't even let them know that I wanted to apply for benefits because of the wrong birthday. That took us days to resolve even the first step. Even though my case was approved in November and I am getting my monthly benefits, Assist cannot close my case because SSA still owes me money from another mistake they had made on my benefits. I sincerely hope that Multnomah County can support Assist. I deeply appreciate everything they have done for me. Thank you for this.
Thank you.
Next, we have Veronica Lozano, Gian Lozano, Jermaine Hankind, and Willie Levinson.
Can those folks come on down? Do you want to read those names one more time, Marina, just in case?
Sorry, I didn't hear. Veronica Lozano, John Lozano, Jermaine Hankind.
Okay.
And Willie Levinson.
You can go ahead and begin.
Thanks for having public testimony today. My name is Willie Levinson. I'm with Human Access Project, and our mission is transforming Portland's relationship with the Willamette River, and I'm here to comment on cutting the Marine Patrol by 25%. So this past summer, Parks and Recreation named 6 official safer places to swim on the Willamette, which is now on their website. The Willamette now is considered a cooling place. The Multnomah County Public Health Department is going to be listing that this summer as a cooling option. Right now, the Willamette River is up to 63 degrees, so it's still not quite ready for general swimming, but it's hot outside right now. More and more people are going to the river. Human Access Project organized the Big Float. We held that for 10 years. Over that period, over 25,000 people went into the river, and more people are going in. And ultimately, when I go to public spaces, public beaches, typically Sandy River, Clackamas River, Savi's Island, these are some of the most diverse places that I see because there's no cost. I think that's a big part of the reason. So when we're able to get people to stay in the city, eliminate car traffic out of town, it's not only a green thing to do, it's something that just encourages people to mix together because water brings out the best in people. It is a community space. So in order for people to come to these spaces, they have to feel safe and secure. And as it is, the River Patrol is grossly understaffed in our opinion, but they do just a great job. So a 25% reduction really is going to have a big impact to people being able to utilize City of Portland's second largest public space and natural area, the Willamette River, which is owned by the citizens of Oregon, and more and more people are getting in. So thanks for your consideration of maintaining the funding of the River Patrol.
Thank you.
Checking again for Veronica Lozano, John Lozano, and Jermaine Hankind. Madam Chair, that is all the public testimony we received for today.
Thank you. Thanks, Marina. And I want to thank everyone for their testimony tonight. Thank you so much for coming here. and using your voice in our process. I especially want to thank all of those folks for whom this was the very first time that they were giving public testimony. That's always very special, and appreciate their voices. For those of you who did submit written testimony tonight, be assured that my colleagues and I read each and every one of those as we're making our decisions around the budget process. And I just want to remind you that our third and final public budget hearing is going to be a hybrid meeting, and that's going to be in 2 weeks on Wednesday, May 31st at 6 p.m. And again, that is at the Multnomah Building at 501 Southeast Hawthorne, and it will also be shared virtually. So thank you everyone again for coming here tonight, and with that, we are adjourned.